You know, ladies and gentlemen, when I made my video about the whole Sony live service games debacle, you didn't think it could get much worse after that, did you? Well, it did. Oh man, did it ever. So what happened since that last video came out? Did they decide that, oh, maybe that wasn't the correct direction for them to be going into? No! They decided to step on another rake. And this time, they're taking away your physical games. They're stopping production of them. They're moving towards all digital in the future. What is wrong with you fucking clowns? July 1st, PlayStation tweets out important updates. News on physical discs for new games. News on PlayStation Store on PS3 and PS Vita. Well, let's take a look at what the new physical games says.
Oh.
In response to shifting trends in consumer preference, new games will be released on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. As consumer preferences in the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on Sony PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This transition has no impact on games that have already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in disc format. Now, why is this a problem, you may ask? Well, it's basically simple. You have no reason to buy a console anymore. You don't. Why would I buy a console for $900 plus? Because, let's be real, the PS6 is going to cost that much given the current price shortage, or part shortage and prices increase. Why would I go pay $900 for a console to not have my games myself and own them forever? And instead, why don't I just go buy a build a PC where everything is digital anyway? But you might be thinking, well, cuz you can only get physical games if you buy a console right now. You can't get physical games on a PC. Well, guess what? That's true. That is true. But PC is an open platform. Steam is not the only place where you can buy games on PC. You can buy games on GOG, Epic Games Store, yada yada. There's so many different places where you can buy games and get true ownership of your game. And as a phrase like Alex likes to say, you can sail the high seas even if you want to. Where can you buy your games for PlayStation digitally? Well, if you just have the console and you don't want to go to a store, you can only buy it from their storefront, meaning that they have a monopoly on their own digital storefront, which causes some problems, possibly legally. I can't say for certain, but causes some issues compared to PC. PC gives you so much more freedom in terms of where you want to buy games and how you want to. Do you want to pay full price for a game? No? You can probably find a code elsewhere if you wanted to. So let's go do that. Why the fuck would I buy a console from now on? Especially when you still have to pay for the disc drive. That's a whole other thing, too. They're now limiting disc drives to one per customer if you're trying to buy a disc drive for PS5 Pro. Fuck out of here with that shit, man. Let's go take a look at what they had to say about the PS3 and Vita storefront. After nearly 2 decades of supporting the PS3 console generation, we wanted to let you know that we'll be closing down the PS3 store as well as the PS Vita. PlayStation Store on PS3 will close in select markets starting this year, followed by global closure for PS3 and PS Vita next year. That means new content purchases will no longer be possible once the PlayStation Store closes on these devices. To ease the transition, players will still be able to download previously purchased content after the closing date for the foreseeable future. And then it lists some countries where it's taking effect earlier than 2027, but these stores globally will be closed by July 2027. Now, yes, storefronts do need to close at some point, but I have the same thoughts on this as I do when Nintendo shut down the Wii, Wii U, and 3DS stores. What's the point? Why are you just giving up a big market of people there? Like, do you not like money? Do you not want money? There are still people that play on the PS3. There's still games that are only exclusive to the PS3 that you can only play on, like I said, a PS3. So, especially with PS3 fat consoles being high in demand for backwards compatibility for PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games, so then you can play all 3 game consoles on the original, on that one system. You see, there's kind of a dilemma here. Sony is now taking away your ability to purchase physical games for their current consoles, but now they're forcing you to go back and play physical games for your previous consoles. Do you not see how hypocritical this is in a sense? I thought PlayStation was power to the players, everybody. I thought that's what was the big thing about all this, but guess not. Guess they really just said, go fuck yourself. Let's take a look at this as well. In PlayStation's Terms of Service, Section 21.2, if you have not used your account for at least 36 months, we may take steps to close it. In that case, we will contact you via email address registered to your account and give you 6 months to either log into your account or contact us and tell us to keep your account open. That's right, everybody. If you don't sign into your account within that time frame, it is gone. All your digital goods, everything that you've done over the years on that account, just delete it. Just lit on fire. Do they not care about the consumer whatsoever? Like, they just want to completely destroy your digital library and all this stuff if you don't sign into the account exactly when they want you to. That's not the only thing they're controlling, too. They're also making it so that a new Marvel fighting game that they're producing as well, on PC, they're restricting purchase of that game to countries that only have access to PlayStation Network accounts. Similar to what they did with Helldivers 2. Because that totally didn't blow up in their face the last time they did it, right? Oh, wait. It did. Okay, that's right. That's what I thought it did. Why are we limiting purchase of a game depending on the region that you're living in? Do you not like money? Like, oh, I'm sorry. You live in a different country? I'm sorry, you can't play our game. No. You gotta be living in these other countries to play our game. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. You're limiting your install base for a game that is already going to be a niche audience whatsoever, because honestly, the Marvel fighting game that you guys are making doesn't look very good, in my opinion. As your local fighting game hater over here, I say this. But at the same time, it doesn't look great. You are limiting purchase on an install base that is bigger than yours to people who can access PlayStation accounts. And for what? What does this do? Does this help with your online networking or something like that? What is this doing? It doesn't make any sense to me. A business at the end of the day is supposed to make money. So why would you limit the things? Why would you limit who can purchase your product so then you make less money? How does that make any sense? What this whole situation, the live service games and the current situation that we're talking about today in terms of physical media and closing storefronts, it just shows to me that Sony has no clue what the fuck they're doing. They don't! Because if they had a plan for their future, they'd be doing something similar to Xbox. Now, yes, before I see this in the comments, yes, what is going on in Xbox is not great either. They're laying off over half of their workforce. Over 1,600 people in Xbox got laid off this week. That's terrible. I feel for those devs wholeheartedly. As somebody who's gotten laid off in the tech sphere before, wholeheartedly, I'm with you. I do not agree with that. I hate layoffs, especially in the tech industry. That being said, they did come out with a plan for restructuring. And they laid it all out. And they laid out why this is necessary for what they're doing. Terrible as it is, they're giving a reason for it, and they're being blunt about it. They're not just giving the normal corpo speak when any of this stuff happens. They're out here being blunt. This is what's going to happen, and this is our plan going forward. Which is what we need to hear at this point. We've been hearing for the past 2 decades all this other corpo bullshit whenever something like this happens, but now we have a direct plan and a solution to give people what they want so you can buy a product that you want. Sony is not doing that. They're not. Sony is now destroying games that people have loved for over a decade, and now they're saying that, oh, those physical games that you guys have been buying, they're not worth the sand they're printed on. They're not worth anything to us. Honestly, it comes out to be funny in the sense that the real winner here is Nintendo. Because they still have physical games. Yes, they're moving more towards game key cards, and there's a lot of other things with the Switch 2 that are not great. Check out my other videos on that. But at the end of the day, they still do have games that are fully on key cards, and you do not, if you buy the key card, you have the entire game on there, and you don't need to download anything. There's no DRM. There's none of that stuff. Xbox is also moving away from physical games, unfortunately, too. But Xbox has been doing that so much in a different way than how PlayStation is doing it, I feel like. Xbox has kind of been moving away from physical games ever since the introduction of Game Pass. Sony has been still pushing physical games in the sense of, oh, you bought a PS5 Slim or a PS5 Pro, here's an additional disc drive for that console. Xbox hasn't done that. They're not selling an additional disc drive for your Xbox Series S over here. They're selling you a product with the specifications, and they're not giving you an upgrade path to match that specific thing if you want to go physical. They're just giving you the product. Sony is being a little bit wishy-washy with this. They're like, well, if you wanted this, then you could have it. But now they're just taking that option away from us starting 2028. All their disc plants aren't even working on making discs anymore. They all switch production to other things at this point. So, why would I buy a disc drive for $80? And especially now if all the disc and physical game prices are about to skyrocket compared to digital games. Oh, that's right. I forgot about this before. Sony has gotten caught in the past where if you are logged in to a PlayStation account and you have certain trends in buying and on their storefront, they will then charge you more for games that you would be more interested in rather than others. Spawnwave has a whole video on this. Go check it out. I'll put it in the description. They literally have a video where if he's not signed into the PlayStation with his PlayStation account, he's just on a guest account, and he buys a game, it is cheaper than if he bought it when he was signed into his main account. Like, a great example now that I've been seeing thrown around is Metal Gear Solid Delta. Delta right now, if you want to go buy it in a store and get a physical copy, remember, Delta, this game, full on disc, does not require any patches to play fully. You buy the disc, you can play the entire game, barring some bugs, of course, but it is playable. It is more than playable. You do that, costs probably $23. If I want to go buy that on the digital storefront of PlayStation 5, $70 fucking. They're trying to control where you are buying things, and this is why I bring up the monopoly part also. Because at least with Steam, for example, if you try to buy a game on Steam and that game is $60, if you look elsewhere, you can find it for cheaper, so then it's not a monopoly. That causes competition and such like that. PlayStation, what competition is there on their storefront? They're not going to put Steam on the PlayStation 6. Are you fucking kidding me? They should, but they're not going to. Anyway, I've rambled long enough about this, and you're probably tired of me talking about any of this stuff. I don't want to talk about Sony anymore. I don't. Truthfully, I want to go back and talking about Destiny 2 and making that video, and maybe I'll actually finish the other M video, but we'll see about that.